Now we can talk about some of the simple rules that you will need to conquer the ACT grammar section. Our goal here is to have you learn these things cold. For those of you who missed my explanation of the word cold, it's not like treating someone in a mean way. The expression means you know them solidly. The same way you know how to put on your blinker before you turn in your car when you're driving. Okay, let's get started. The fun begins. The first rule that we're going to learn is the omit option. Grammar rule number 1, the omit option. Mrs. Art says, always consider this option first. The general rule is that if the sentence makes perfect sense without the underlined portion, then it's out of there. You choose omit. Okay, let's return to the example that I gave you earlier of what a simple question was on the ACT. Over many weeks, gradually, she learns to play tennis like a professional. A said no change, B as days go by, C with multiple attempts, and D omit. Okay, if we go with the omit option first, we take out the section that's underlined. It would say, comma, gradually, comma, and if we reread the sentence without it, it says, over many weeks she learns to play tennis like a professional. Perfect. We know we're right. It's D, omit. Okay, hopefully you've got that and you're ready for rule number 2. If you're not, pause it and listen to it again. Number 2, avoid repeating. For those of you who know the word redundancy, it's actually a better word than the word repeating, though they basically mean the same thing. The ACT does not approve of saying the same thing again and again. They would hate me, even if the words are different. They also don't like adding unnecessary words that really aren't important to the storyline. Sometimes we can handle redundancy questions easily because they're set up like that omit question I just showed you. We read the sentence, we just know that they're repeating themselves, and there we go. But there's another example. Here we go. To keep warm, I bundled myself in a blanket to keep me toasty. Okay, can't we just get rid of the underlined portion? Yes. Or consider this sentence with unnecessary details that really are not relevant to the sentence. The test was scheduled for the following week, which happened to be my dog's birthday, and I knew that if I studied a lot that I would do well. Okay, now I care if that date was my dog's birthday, but I really don't expect anyone else to care. So hopefully you get the picture. There is one more way that the ACT tests redundancy. I told you they hate this, so they've tested it in 3 different ways. And this is a very fun thing to learn to spot. Okay, here's what the question's going to look like. The example will say this. Dr. Seuss, and maybe you know that guy, perhaps the best known children's author in the country, wrote many books. Okay, A would be no change, leaving the underlined portion in. B would say the author who wrote children's books. C, author who is well known. And D, author who is also clever with words. Notice that the questions all repeat the word author 4 times. And 3 of the times they add extra information. If you see a question like this on the ACT, then you should always choose the single word. So in this case, it would be A, no change, author. Okay, here's another example to make it even more clear. Your company makes durable machines that are made to last. Okay, made to last. A, no change. So A would be machines. B, machines that stand the test of time. C, machines that don't break. And D, the simple word machines. Okay, in this case, F, G, and H all take the word machine and then add stuff. So the answer has to be J. Now on your paper where you're taking notes of everything I say, please draw 4 rectangles, just like you see on the screen. 3 of them should be about 3 inches long and 1 of them should be about 1 inch long, just like I've done up here. Now color in all 4 the same size as the 1 inch. If you scribble in the other 3, you'll have a picture that will help you remember this. 1 word repeated 4 times, you go with the 1 word. Okay, if you're comfortable, let's recap. The first one is the omit rule. Always check it first. If the sentence makes sense without it, it's out of here. 2, avoid redundancy and repeating. Look at the sentence to see if they already said something like it. If they did, or if it's just extra stuff you don't need, it's out of there. Very common answer. And 3, look for that pattern that we talked about. A word repeated 4 times. 3 of the times I add extra junk. Keep it simple, baby. And now we're going to get ready for our next dose of grammar. But before we begin, let's make sure that you get this. Omit and delete. Always check the option first. Here's your example. She usually came to school on the bus, which was yellow. A, no change. B, which was typical. C, like her sister. Or D, omit. Okay, now pause for a minute. We would check the omit option first and realize that we don't necessarily need this information. It's just interesting, but it's not super important to our meeting. So let's go with D, omit. Okay, we also talked about keeping things simple, avoiding repetition and redundancy, which I'm doing all day long here, right? Test yourself with this one. When we took the test, we found a problem. Okay, A, no change. B, a problem which needed to be solved. C, a problem which needed a solution. D, a problem that I saw. Okay, put me on pause and choose. Are you back? Hopefully you chose A, no change. Remember our picture? Draw that 4 rectangle picture again so that you know it. Okay, before we proceed, we do need a few more building blocks to move on to the other rules. The first one is, what is a subject? A subject is a person or thing or pronoun that does something in the sentence. It's the doer. It's the noun. Example, LeBron won the game for the Cavs. I'm from Cleveland, right? LeBron is the subject. Example, she looked awesome. Okay? Pause and guess the subject. Did you guess she? You got it. A verb. It's an action word or a being word. Jumps, studied, is, were, have been. In the sentence, LeBron won the game for the Cavs. What is the subject? LeBron. Won is the verb. All right. Now, we take those blocks about subject and verbs and we have to add one more thing. How to make a full, independent, complete, lives on its own sentence. To have a full, complete, legit sentence, you need 2 things, and you better know this. You need both. If you don't have them, it fails. Number 1, you must have a subject, a doer, someone or something doing something or existing in some way. You must have a verb, the action or being a certain way. Okay? Examples. I dance. Kate learns. We love them. Pete hates broccoli. But you're not done yet. Number 2, super important. You cannot be left on a cliff. Said another way, you can't be left hanging. For example, I dance is a perfect sentence. But I dance when? You want to know when I dance, and I'm never going to tell you. It's not a sentence. I dance when. Kate learns as if. That is not a sentence. Okay. We love them so that what? So that they won't leave our yard and become our neighbor's dogs? Okay. Pete hates broccoli and what? Spinach, beets? Okay, you get my drift. Please learn these 2 rules. Okay. If you don't know them, pause me and listen to them again. Now let's learn a few more terms. The subjects in those sentences above, I, Kate, we, Pete, and the verbs, dance, learns, loves, hates. Okay, once I said, say it again. If you aren't clear, put me on pause and get them clear in your head. Okay? Now, one more building block that we need before we move on. You need to know the meaning of the word pronoun. A pronoun is just what it sounds like, a professional noun. When the Cleveland Browns lose a quarterback, which happens all the time, they can't just hire a guy from the parking lot to fill in for him. The next sentence could say, the team hired him. Now, that's my next foundational block. When you have a pronoun, you have to track down the noun. You have to know who the pronoun's looking for. In this case, him is our pronoun. It's representing the new quarterback. Okay, let's talk about some very common pronouns to be on the lookout for. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, me, him, her, us, them. We will talk a lot about pronouns very soon. though now at least you have some of the background scoop. Okay, so our basic training, let's review. Drop down, give me 10. I'm just teasing. Okay, the subject, the doer, the noun. The verb, what they are doing or their state of being. A sentence. Do you remember? Put me on pause, see if you do. A full sentence needs A, a subject and a verb, and B, you cannot leave anyone on a cliff. Okay? And a pronoun is a professional noun that takes the place of the noun. Okay, a few examples of pronouns. Put me on pause, see if you can write down a few. Okay, I, you, he, she, it, they, me, you, him, her. Hopefully you got a few. All right, learn this stuff well, and I'll see you again soon.